Hey, global leader and expatriates around the world. Welcome to Joyride with Expatriates. If you are new here, in this show, we bring every month a different person to talk about their expatriation experiences, cultural challenges, and how to become an effective person while living abroad. I am Tatyana Fittipaldi, and in this channel, we make videos to help global leaders just like you become more productive, more effective, and improve their leadership both in business and life. Today, we have the pleasure of talking with Mandy Gupta Vasudev. Mandy was born in India, but she sees herself as a citizen of the world. She lived in the Middle East, Kenya, India, and she is a conflict management and resolution expert. In 2017, she went a step further and she launched a human rights initiative against human trafficking and slave trade called My Body Belongs to Me. She also works in many other human rights and mental health awareness initiatives. Mandy is back to India right now, but she keeps her initiatives around the world very, very active. Please join me in welcoming Mandy to our show. Mandy, welcome to our show. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tati. I'm happy to be here with you. I look forward to the chat.
Awesome. So let's start talking about, so you were born in India, right?
That's right.
So let's talk about India for a moment, because I have so many cool questions for you. So my first question is, whoever never lived in India, have the perspective of how India is like by the movies, by the Bollywood movies, etc. So I wanted to ask you, how is really the wedding industry in India? Because what we see in the movies is about how matchmaking is important in India. It's traditional, the parents talk to each other, etc. So I just wanted to get your perspective, how it really is in India.
Yes, it's actually a very interesting topic for other people, other parts of the world, about India's wedding industry. Marriage still is very important in India. Even though people have gone ahead and gotten a lot of modern views that you can live together, you can maybe not marry, but still it's a very big part of the family thinking. So, and therefore there are still arranged marriages which are blooming, which is surprising that people today actually want to meet somebody who they're introduced to with the concept of getting married, and they meet, interact, and they take it forward. Yes, it's constantly happening, and it's become more organized now. Before it used to be, within families or through word of mouth of friends. Then there was this newspaper advertisement. Then came the, internet. But through the internet, they would get, apply for matrimonial. But now it's become more interesting. They have actual agents like headhunting. Believe you me, I'm not exaggerating. They actually have headhunters. They call them, they have a name for them, forgetting what, marriage agents, something like the wedding planners, marriage agents. So they actually visit two homes and they see if there's a cultural fit. They come and sell their, the families to each other, and then they talk about it. So it's, and more upmarket it is, the more, of course, more they charge you, and it's a booming industry.
That's so fascinating. And who they seek first, the parents, or who is going to actually get married?
No, in arranged marriage, they first see the family.
The family.
They will find out about the guy. You see, marriage, when it is an arranged marriage, is like a job. They see the prospects of, monetary prospects, then the family cultural standing, society standing. So it has to be, they have to know that there is a guy who's working and economically productive.
Oh,
And
yes.
then they will go and check on the family. So it's still a lot of family affair. Even now, in India, it's even now a big thing, for families to get together, to get inside the family. You don't marry just the guy, even now in India. Whether you would like to tell yourself that or not, after whatever you may tell yourself, I'm marrying just the guy. When you're into it, you're married to the family in a way.
I see. So in-laws are important as well.
Yeah. It's very important. Family attachments are high everywhere. I wouldn't say it's more in India or less in the other parts of the world. Never. It's all the same, but it's the way people respond to family situations. In India, it's still a lot more inclusive of everyone, trying to include everyone all the time for a lot of social, social celebrations, social matters. So it depends again, like you will understand that, different families, different exposures, that segregates the kind of, how much they include people in their lives, the modern couples. But it's still very much, family is still very much a part of our lives.
That's so fascinating. That's really fascinating. And you talked about, they checking out social standing. So, could you tell us about the caste system? How does it work? And how the red dots or the dots in the foreheads are connected? Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, Tati, let me first segregate a little bit. Marriage, arranged marriage, is a social custom. It's still running. It's becoming more organized. It has really, really nothing to do with the caste system now. Yes, caste is there still in India, but it's very, very hidden, the caste, the feeling towards, the caste, because now nobody wants to say openly that they believe in caste. But it's there. It's not there in our regular fabric of life anymore, especially the more urbanized you are, the more modern you are, the more, you're living in cities, don't feel it. It's more you feel it in the villages. When you go there,
I see.
More uneducated, more. It is quite strong in certain parts of India still, which are not urbanized. But so it's not really, now marriages are not really happening as per the caste. There was a time when you had to marry between your same caste, upper caste, lower caste, middle caste, whatever it is. But now it is more into what the guy is doing, the professional status of the guy. And then they, of course, check the family culture and the family. They also want an educated family. So it combines that kind of caste, looking at caste during marriage is much, much less. I think it's a very minuscule percentage. We will still say it's probably not there. I think that thinking has broadened a bit.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's arranged marriage. They'll see the boy, they'll see the family, they'll see the standing. That's it. Now, coming back to your question about caste system, this is what I feel, that it's a very, very hidden thing inside, and you don't feel it in the urban life at all. But yes, in the poorer sections, it is still there. There are a lot of atrocities. It's again hidden, so it's not so open. So you have to walk into those places to see what's happening. Coming back to your question on Bindi, which I think fascinates you a lot.
Yes.
Well, here's that red dot that we put here, right? Mostly red, but you can wear different colors. Basically, the bindi is actually most of India wears it as a mark of marriage, wedding. It's when you're married, you wear the bindi. When you become a widow, the first thing which goes is the bindi, which is very sad.
Really? Okay.
I mean, as per the old practice, that's what they remove. So it could be a vermilion mark. Vermilion mark is a powder which is used for marking the wedding signs. So with that, you put it on the forehead and you put it on your hair, in your hair also. Some communities also put it in their head. But moment you become a widow, that's the first thing that is removed traditionally.
And what does it mean? What does it mean?
Even now, if you are a woman who is wearing a sindoor, a vermilion mark, when you lose your husband, you remove that. So Now, that is the larger practice of wearing a bindi, mostly for people who are married, but also unmarried women, girls also wear bindis in some parts of India, especially in the southern parts of India. And we also have another very, about India is very spiritual in the sense, not religious all the time, but they have a lot of spiritual belief. So they also believe that the bindi, this place, is you have energy points in your body called chakras. You have the very, very active, high power energy, which comes out from here, the chakra. So they say when you mark it and you press it, you try to concentrate all your activities, you begin your day with that bindi and you concentrate through your mind and you look more towards a focused, your body chakras get energized. So it's always explained with some kind of spirituality, some kind of logic. This is a science now people have started again believing in the chakras and the healing through chakras. It's a very organized science. So coming back to that is the story of bindi. And of course, as fashion came in, people started wearing different colors of bindi. Blue, red, pink. That was not the traditional.
Okay.
One was a red kumkum, vermilion, or sometimes when you worshipped the Hindu gods, you were given a sandalwood bindi, with sandalwood. But all these colored bindis are a statement of fashion. And everybody can wear it. When it becomes a statement of fashion, anybody and everybody can wear it. But traditionally, yes, it is connected with red bindi is connected with marriage, and especially vermilion mark, which is that powdered bindi which you put. And when you lose your husband or become a widow, which is a very sexist practice, but it's a practice, that's the first thing they remove, sadly. Well, these are dying now in the sense people have stopped wearing these vermilion mark, traditional way of wearing a bindi. Today, if you wear a bindi, you want to wear it just for fashion. So you can wear it long, you can wear it like a star, you can wear it like a snake, you can use this place like a tattoo almost and, wear it. So that traditional way of looking at the bindi is now almost gone, I would say, in the urban areas. Rural areas still hold on to a lot of customs.
That's really fascinating. And I don't know if this is also a common practice in India. I see sometimes in movies or series, they do beautiful tattoos, in the hands, and so I was wondering what do they mean, or if there is any meaning.
I love it. You call it a tattoo. So yes, it looks like that. It can be called maybe. So what you're talking about, what we do on our hands, it's called mehendi. Mehendi. Okay. So it's a very old traditional practice of adorning your body with natural elements. It's a traditional past practice which is carried on, and it's just becoming bigger and bigger. So it's made from natural organic plant product, and that basically adorns you, makes you look pretty. It's also a kind of a cultural beauty that, and the more artistic you are, the more beautiful you produce those motifs.
The artistry of
and then they're associated. And of course, now you have professionals coming in, but traditionally people in the house used to do it to each other.
Really?
To the bride, to the people dressing up for the marriage. Now you have all professionals who come. If you are getting married, you will have a professional person sitting and doing it for all your friends and your relatives. And so they are all generally very good. And of course, every practice has a story attached to it. So they say that if your hand becomes red with that paint, that henna, you are loved by your husband. If it is brighter, you're loved by your mother-in-law. So all these stories go on to make it a more magical ceremony and fun. So yeah, it's becoming actually more and more organize the mehendi industry again, I would say, because we have full team of mehendi people who will come to do these, to attend all these weddings. not attend, to serve and to do this work at the weddings, you'll have all of them doing a brilliant work on your arms, on your hands.
It's just for the bride, or other people or other women can also wear it?
No, all women like to dress up, right? So
so everybody can do it. Oh, that's awesome. That's fascinating.
So it starts with the bride, of course. The bride is the main, and the fun is that we are giving you company. So everybody sits together. It's a beautiful ceremony. So the bride starts and everybody sits together. So it's everyone doing it together and
yes, that must be really fun.
Magical. So, mehendi is what you see more in Bollywood. It's a very North Indian, then some parts of East India. Now everyone almost does it. But there is another thing that we do with color in Eastern India, in Bengal. That is, they play with turmeric. You know the turmeric powder?
Yes.
Yellow? So traditionally, Bengalis would not do mehendi. But again, the same practice of adorning with natural plant, organic cosmetic. So that was haldi. Haldi is turmeric. I don't know what it is called. There's another French name for it, which I don't remember, probably would have. But it's called turmeric. Understand what is turmeric, right?
Yes.
So the turmeric paste is actually put on the bride's face all over, and she's bathed in it. And after she's been smeared with the turmeric, all the other friends, and the relatives, aunts, they all play with that on each other's face, basically putting it on each other. So the actual thinking is turmeric is antiseptic. Turmeric is cleanser, good cleanser, and turmeric makes your skin glow. So it's like an organic cosmetic, but you play with it at the wedding day and make it a custom. Mehendi is also a plant-based product. Mehendi is made from a plant-based product, and they adorn their hands. That's more North India, Delhi, Punjab, Rajasthan, also UP side. But turmeric is very Bengal. So India is not homogeneous. Tati, India, we call ourselves India, one country, but each state is completely different. It's like a European Union almost. Like each state is so different from the other. It's like a separate country almost. We have our own language, own festivals, own practices. Everything is like different, but we are united in that same bond of being Indians, which is very interesting. It's not a homogeneous country.
That's so interesting. And you mentioned earlier about India being very spiritual. So, and I know you are not religious, but you believe in God. But could you tell us about Hinduism? Can you tell, for example, we have these very impressive gods, right? Like Ganesha, like Durga. I don't know. I just know very few of them.
I'm impressed with your knowledge.
Yeah, but they're very impressive. I mean, for people who, don't have a lot of contact, they look very impressive, right? So I was wondering, if you have a take on that, if you could talk about it, and anything you can enlighten us with about this.
I'm happy to talk about it because, Tati, I'm happy you asked me this question because by and large, the world doesn't understand Hinduism, and I don't blame them. Because what they see is worshipping elephant head, worshipping suddenly a snake, or something. So they don't understand what it is. And I would equally react to it if I did not know the philosophy behind Hinduism. As I said, I don't practice any religions. I'm not practicing Hindu. But I come from a Hindu family. And I know that Hinduism is a religion based on a lot of symbolism. So it's seated in very deep philosophy. The philosophy behind Hinduism is very deep. The problem is it is lost in translation. It is not transferred to the common people, the whole essence of Hinduism, but people practice it the way they are happy. But coming back to your question, why do we have these idols? We do idol worship, right? We have many idols. So it's not that we believe basically in many gods. We believe actually in the unity of God, that there is one God, but he's manifested in different powers. Like
I see.
The biggest power has its own manifestations in different powerlets, different other power channels. So as a normal human being, you may not be able to address that almighty, that power, without a figure or a symbol in your head. It's not possible for everyone
It's difficult to relate.
to think of a light or to think of nothing and concentrate. So it's much easier probably to give you a symbol, a story, for you to make a connection with that figure and take you down that path to understand the Almighty. So it's a bit complicated. I cannot probably explain everything in a small session, but I'm glad you brought it up. So why is it a Durga suddenly who comes with 10 hands? What is it showing us 10 hands, killing a demon with 10 heads?
Yeah, she usually have a lot of weapons, right, in her hands.
That's crazy, right? What the hell is happening here? But you see, there is a lot of this. Actually, it's a much deeper philosophy. I won't be able to express everything, but what I'll tell you is, what is Durga? Durga is basically representing a force of goodness over evil. The whole world is fighting all the time against evil, right? There is a battle of evil and good and bad constantly in this world. So Durga is the image of the goodness triumphing and goodness coming out with a lot of power.
Oh,
Power
I see.
given. And if you hear the story, mythological story of Durga, how she gets 10 hands and so many weapons, it's very interesting. Every god, now, if you think of it philosophically, the whole universe power comes in to make a power of goodness. So Durga is the goodness. Durga is a universal goddess who's coming down to kill the evil, to triumph evil, to rid the world of all evil. And this demon he is a representative with the 10 heads, Ravana. He is the representative of evil, which is a Ram Ravana, and Durga kills Asura. Asura is a demon. So it's basically destruction of the evil by the good. So the good comes with all power, backed by everybody, all weapons. So it is like shown in that one image to show the power of the goddess.
And that's fascinating, and I like this story, the good over evil. I like it.
Yeah, even like when I mentioned Ravana, there is a story of Rama. You will see a lot of Rama things, God Rama happens in India. There's a lot of agitation which happened recently on Ayodhya issue where Rama was born. So Rama is another king who was a king probably, but he's made into a god. And then he goes and conquers a 10-headed Ravana who's made to be a demon, who was actually a king of Sri Lanka as per some history. But it's again a conquering of goodness and bringing back to bring setting things right. It's the whole thing is very symbolic Hinduism. So when you see Ganesha with an elephant head, why is he given an elephant head? Now, there is a lot of story behind that. In one line, I cannot. The mythological stories are lots. But Ganesha actually is a god of wisdom. Okay. So he can be portrayed in different ways. He's portrayed in the story where he's put in a family story of Lord Shiva's son, Parvati's son. And there is a story given that how he plays one day and how he gets a Ganesha head. So all these are given to make these actual symbolic gods real in your life. To make them, to bring them close to your life by giving a story, giving a magical fairy tale around them, to bring it close to the children. And the children, when they grow up, they have them in their heart like that. So they love that whatever representation of the universe or the God, they grow to love and relate to that. It's a beautiful love relationship when you are, worshipping a deity, believing it's true. Getting into a relationship, talking to it, enjoying the stories built around it, laughing around the stories. So it's a very beautiful journey if people know, in translation, it is not lost, the fact that This is just created to create that relationship, not that there are 10 different, idols sitting there looking after us. But it's just symbolic of one universe with power, manifestations of all different powers through the different incarnation of gods. Hindu, you must probably read Hinduism, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. You have the preserver, the destroyer, and the creator. The concept is three aspects of power created the world. Brahma is the creator, Vishnu, somebody has to preserve, to sustain the world. There's a preserver, and Shiva is a destroyer. But again, in destruction brings creation.
Yes, the creation, absolutely, yeah.
I cannot explain to you, and really, I don't know what I'm saying is going to make a lot of sense to people right now, but it just might give them some idea and make them a little more curious
to check it out, right? To go
and understand the Indian philosophy behind which a lot of explanations lie. But very sadly is the situation that a lot of people do not know the real essence of Hinduism. They just do the rituals. They practice rituals blindly to the state they can even carry on a fight based on an understanding of a ritual. But it becomes ritualistic at the end of the day for many reasons, because like you had in the Middle East, in the Middle Ages, you had the church and the popes becoming powerful, and lack of knowledge to the normal people in the medieval Europe. In the same way, Hinduism has also gone through the same. The Brahmins wouldn't let the actual knowledge of Hinduism go down to the other castes because their power would go. And by doing that, a lot of distortion happens. It's a journey, I guess, everyone makes, and the religious reformation, I don't know. But that is why a lot of reformation has also happened in Hinduism. You have a lot of breakaways. You have a lot of breakaway societies. You have Arya Samaj, you have Brahmo Samaj. Now you have, Buddhism started actually as a reform movement of Hinduism. But now it's a completely different religion, and a beautiful religion, which again believes, like Hinduism, in rebirth, in karma. Karma means what you do now, you will reap as you sow.
You'll pay. Sometime you will pay.
It's a lovely concept to believe in. It gives you a lot of meaning in life somehow. So I don't know, Tati, if I've explained to you very well.
No, that's perfect. But, and that's fascinating.
Probably I've been able to throw that, it's not just blind worship of deity. That's not Hinduism. Even I would laugh at it. And it's not like that. There's so much more depth behind, and there's so much more symbolism behind it. It's very difficult unless you study it. And that's the sadness. People should understand what they are doing. Simplify it. You don't simplify it to a state where it's gone into complete enigma. No one knows what's happening. So, well, I shouldn't pass opinions.
No, and India is fascinating. But I know you have some fascinating stories as well in other places of the world. So now I wanted to talk about your experiences during your expatriation. So talk about Oman, Kenya. Where else have you been? You've been also in Dubai, right? So tell us, what was your biggest cultural shock there in those places, and talk about those places a little bit to us.
Well, from India, my first move was Oman. It's the Gulf's best kept secret. Beautiful country. But my shock was when I joined a university college to teach their English. I joined as an English lecturer. And I've always been confident in a classroom, and I never felt problem with relating to the students. But really, very honestly, Tati, what threw me off guard for a second was, I was not used to the kind of clothes they wear. I just gone in from India. And it's a cultural shift. It takes time. So when I entered a class full of young Omani boys, all wearing those kaftans, which they call kanduras, Oman kanduras, and with those headgear. Okay. Now, each one wears a different headgear. Some wear a cap, some wear a bandana kind of with a band, depending on the village they hail from. So when all of them sat together in that kind of an outfit, I suddenly, felt very alienated. This is not what I was used to looking at in a classroom. And it may be silly because it's just clothes, but the entire atmosphere just changed for me. I was thinking, who am I addressing? Okay, am I at the right place? Are they understanding me? So I actually got a bit intimidated on the first 2 days. I was thinking, this is not me. What is it that is intimidating me? So I carried on with the class. And then after a few classes, we got friendly where the boys slowly, and I started laughing at myself. I said, oh my God, aren't people the same everywhere in the world? A 15, 17, 18-year-old boy is same, more or less. Human beings are the same everywhere.
They're kids.
It is very cute when I discovered that under those, not formative, to me, it was alien clothing. So different kind of clothing, they didn't become any different. They were just like the students I've dealt with before, as loving, as naughty, as, curious, how boys are, handful in a nice way. So yes, that was a real culture shock for a few days, I would say. And then I got over it, and then I became very good friends with them. But that was a good learning, slowly that you learn. And then I remember I went for an Eid party. They all invited me, and then they pushed me to the girls section. Though the boys were also my students, I could not go to the boys section. I was put in the girls section. So when they invited me home, which is very nice, I was taken to the ladies. The boys invited me. I was taken to the ladies section, and I was asked to sit there. So I was thinking, okay, but that was so beautiful. They didn't make me feel like an alien even for a second. When they called me home, when their son, or I guess, called me home for Eid, and it was full, it was crowded. I'd gone with both my children. They were small. So to show them how Eid is celebrated in Oman. It was so beautiful. I was like, for a while, I was thinking, oh God, I don't know, nobody knows me here. They just got me inside as if I was one of them. That's a very hospitable, extremely hospitable culture, actually. And then they were eating biryani. They eat it together. So spread it on a big plate, and they all sit down and start eating from one side. So obviously, and they were very sensitive. They probably thought for a second, I may not like it. I mean, I may not enjoy it. And for a second, I was taken aback. Like, I don't know how to just go and start eating from there. So they were so sweet. They got me another plate, filled it up for me to sit and eat with my children. And then, it was very, I found it very touching. I learned so many things, how they opened up their heart to me because I was invited, though they did not know me. At that point, it didn't matter. I was not one of them. So that was nice. Then from Oman, I moved to Dubai. Dubai didn't have so much of a culture shock because Arabic culture is more or less the same, except the getting a license in Dubai was as bad as getting one in Oman. I mean, they put you through a grilling thing, which is not in India. India is much easier to get a license. So getting a license in the Gulf cities is an achievement, almost like getting an entrance into a very university. Anyway, so other than that, Dubai was not a culture shock in cultural in the way I had, the Oman, what I was exposed to, because I already knew the Arabic culture by then. But Dubai was a different learning. It was an Arabic country when I went, and yet it was a potpourri of the world. Every nationality had come to work in Dubai. So Dubai is part of United Arab Emirates. It's one of the Emirates of United Arab Emirates. It's their flagship city. So, but Dubai was very unlike an Islamic place because they had people from all over the world, very cosmopolitan, very international. It had wonderful places to eat. It had the best restaurants and hotels in the world. I mean, if you saw Dubai and then you went even to Vegas, you would say, if Dubai could start gambling, then Vegas would lose its charm. So Dubai was not a culture shock. Dubai was a cultural delight. Dubai was a cultural high. Dubai was a hedonistic pleasure. I mean, it was awesome. So, from Oman, when I moved to Dubai, I was, okay, I'm going to a bigger city. There are better jobs, better things to learn. But what really blew me was totally blew me was the amazing hedonism going on. All pleasure was the aim of life in the sense, and good food, good
Places.
restaurants, hotels, beautiful roads, green desert everywhere, plants, good living. I mean, it was amazing. A desert converted into such an
Awesome place. Yes.
it's a huge case study. And I remember my father visiting me, and every 3 minutes he would say the same thing. A desert 10 years back, it was all full of sand. He was repeating it so many times that my 8-year-old children started telling him, "Oh, grandfather, we will finish the sentence for you." We know, but I can understand where he was coming from. Dubai was a total high. It's a different world. A wow world. So when I went from Dubai to Kenya, it was like chalk and cheese. From Dubai, when you go to Kenya, there are no roads. There are, I had to, when I first went to Kenyan nightclub, very excited. Let me go. The Kenyans are fond of dancing, so let's go. Oh my God, it was open air. Anybody could walk in, and you're walking through some dirty lanes, probably breaking a few bricks over here or twisting your ankle almost. And then somebody is dressed up, somebody's not. You can wear anything and go in. I'm like, hello, what is this? Who comes to a nightclub? That was a different kind of a culture shock. I was like, I'm not going out. This is not a decent place to go out. But then I changed. After a few months, I was in love with Kenya nightclubs. They had a feeling of happiness around them. There was nothing artificial about Africa. It was an open place under the sun and under the skies, because Kenya, especially Nairobi, is on a height. So they have a very good weather all the year round. So it was like a shed, almost a dance place. You could just go and dance there. There was music happening, disco happening. I mean, I've also been to dance clubs, nightclubs, where there were haystacks where you were sitting. It was a part of the funky thing. So it was amazing. So you didn't have to dress up. You didn't have to think who's saying, who's wearing what brands are you carrying. No, you just enjoyed yourself. And that thing got so much into me. I fell in love with Africa. I fell in love with the people of Africa, fell in love with Kenya. And the locals, when you don't know exactly, when I first went to Oman, when I used to think that, okay, the different outfits makes them different people. So when I first went to Kenya, I had so many stories about Kenya being unsafe. There are robbers. So you get into your head, oh my God, there's robbers everywhere. There are robbers everywhere. So you have to be careful. And then I started interacting with the locals because of my job. I joined the German guy who was working in a big NGO. And he told me he was quite fascinated with my curiosity of things. And he said, okay, fine. I won't pay you, but you can join me. So, but I'm so glad I did that, Tati. It threw me and opened into a different world altogether. I would have never seen this world. So he involved me in a lot of projects. I worked a lot with these locals. And then I realized, goodness, they're awesome people. And then I realized, I felt a lot for the kind of social issues, economic issues, political issues that they were going through. And so I got involved in the development sector. This German guy I was working with, he was with a part of GIZ group, which is a company called Ageha NGO. So he exposed me to this conflict management world. And I started working with him. Then he sent me to Austria for a lot of programs to do on conflict management, conflict resolution. That was another, cultural shock or cultural learning. So when I go there, I actually meet people from all the conflict countries, all these countries like Sudan, South Sudan, Palestine, Syria, Afghanistan, Pakistan. I mean, and then you hear their stories just so different from what, I have
expect
all my life. And the learning was bigger from talking with them than from the classroom. The classrooms were amazing. The professors were amazing. But what I learned from talking to them, and Tati, that was a big learning. I was naive in a way, in the sense, I love Dubai. So my exposure to life was, oh God, Dubai is so fantastic. It's amazing. It's hedonistic way of life. Everybody should be in that bubble once in a while. So I would go right to everybody and say, hey, have you been to Dubai? You must go and see Dubai. You must live through Dubai, experience in Dubai. And even in Kenya, after I went to Austria for this program, I was carrying that message, hey guys, you guys have come from these different countries. Have you seen? I've come from Dubai, and Dubai is fantastic. And then I saw their reactions. No, Dubai in the international world has a different perception because they don't know the good side of Dubai, maybe. Every side has different aspects.
Perspective.
Every person has. So it was more known as, probably labor laws were not great. It's just not entirely true. I mean, I have lived in Dubai, so I know it's not entirely true. But I don't want to get into that debate. But it was perceived as a lot of place where human rights were not really probably respected completely. And to people from Syria, Yemen, where there were war-torn refugees floating in the water, you think they were interested in knowing about hedonism and beautiful life in Dubai? So I was not insensitive. I was naive. I was sharing my experience in exchange of their experience. And the fact that the experiences are not matching, maybe it didn't strike me, Tati. See, each individual is different. Your perception, your interaction will be different from mine with someone else. So to me, it didn't make any difference that their experience they were sharing was different. I was happy to share mine and listen to theirs. I did not understand my communication is going off completely. Like here, the Syrian is saying, my God, the refugees, I mean, we are going through a horrible time. Yemen is saying, I had to run away when this bomb blast happened. And then Palestine saying, I grew up in refugee tents. Mandy, what do you know about that? And here I'm saying, oh my God, you must go and see the
hotels and
I know, but you must see the rotating restaurant, and you must go and see the fantastic hotels. I mean, what are you talking about? It didn't strike me because somewhere I was probably silly or naive, but that learning was. Some guys were honest enough to tell me, I think you should understand what you're saying is not cutting much ice with us because we played a lot of games in this program, and I'm very grateful to these facilitators. They somehow managed to get all of us in the class of, I think there were 25 participants, all of us to interact through a lot of games and feedback each other personally. And that helped a lot. Each one's feedback on perception of others, we could correct ourselves. So coming back to your point, that was the biggest learning. I wouldn't say cultural shock. That is my biggest learning in my life. The way I grew up in Kenya, I don't think growing up is just not adding years. I don't know. I grew up. I did not get sadder. It's not that I saw this part of life and I became sad. No, I saw life. I saw life in Kenya. I saw life because this German organization and this gentleman gave me an opportunity to see what was happening and send me for these programs. At this conflict management program at Austria, ASPR, there's a castle where they have the program. It's called a Peace Castle. I was humbled beyond anything. I didn't know what life was really till I met these people. And I am a different person today, Tati. I'm a very happy person still, but I'm a very different human being. Today, if I see any piece of news on the TV, where, like when I'm watching an Ethiopia news on what's happening in the northern part of Ethiopia, I don't watch just the news. I read. I know what's happening there. I am not able to just watch it as a news. I can have sleepless nights, and I can think of what can I do in a small way. So I'm a very different human being today, and I'm not unhappy for that. I'm happier, and I'm because I feel I actually have understood that life is very different for different people. It's everybody knows that on paper, but to feel it is different.
It's different, yeah.
Palestine guy told me, there was a feedback session, Tati, on each other. So this guy came and told me, Mandy, you're very fun-loving, you're very happy, you're very jolly. Everyone thinks that's great about you, but I think you're a fake. I think you're fake, you're putting it all on. So I was just taken aback. I said, okay, no, I said, no, I'm not angry. I said, I'm sorry if I upset you, he said. I said, no, you're not. Because why should I, I'm a changed person. I'm appreciating an honest feedback. That's what you felt. And then if I may tell you my journey and your journey, they're so far apart. I don't blame you. You grew up in a refugee tent. Your family was all the people staying in the tent. And like you're saying, each refugee tent is not friendly with the other refugee tent. Even there you have friction. I did not grow up with any friction anywhere. So what is my exposure to life? What is my understanding? I'm so happy I'm able to see it through your lens. I'm really happier that, yeah, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to life that it took me to Kenya.
And let me ask you something. So after these people, for example, the person who said that you're fake or your smile is fake, after he got to know you better, how was his perception changed?
Well, he did come and speak to me after 2-3 days, and we had a long session. We had a very nice session through past midnight. He was, in a way, explaining why he said that, which I thought it was his way of apologizing. He did not say sorry, but he said, Mandy, you understand where I'm coming from. And I was trying to tell him desperately in many ways that I am good with it. You see, these are people who, some of these people were very scarred. So you couldn't go out to them and hold their hands and say, hey, listen, I understand what you say. I'm sorry. They will withdraw. Those are the things I learned at that conflict management program. There are different human beings that come from different places. So if I go very boisterously and say, hey, I understand, he just back off, what you understood. I don't know what you want. So I didn't want to make it that way, but I knew when he was chatting with me, late hours of the night, exchanging his experience, that he wanted to tell me more. So it was his way of explaining where he came from. And I was trying to explain to him where I came from. So we parted very affectionately. But yeah, I learned a lot. I don't know what he learned, but I learned a lot.
And I think by exposing ourselves and having these new perspectives is exactly how we grow, right? We grow by exposing ourselves to different things.
Yes, Tati, absolutely. That's what I'm telling you. I'm a very changed person. And that's thanks to Kenya, thanks to the kind of life I got exposed to by this German guy. I'm very grateful to him. And of course, then I was doing my own programs. I got involved with a lot of local NGOs there, where I did programs. I worked with the community. I launched my own advocacy program on human trafficking to create awareness against human trafficking, because there were a lot of people in Africa being duped by fake recruiting agents, promising them jobs in Europe and the Middle East, and they were being tortured. It goes on. This business is on for a long time. But in 2017, I think it was a very horrific thing that happened, that they were all taken to Libya, mostly Nigerians and people from North Africa, West Africa. And they were being promised jobs in the Europe. And then they couldn't go there because that time EU closed the border of Mediterranean. And then they started selling these Africans in Libya across the table through auctions. And they were selling them for organs, body organs. And you can imagine, I don't need to exaggerate that. If you are being sold against your wish for your body organ, that's not what that's not.
You're actually, thinking that you're going to improve your life, right?
Yeah. If I want to sell my organ or donate my organ, yes, it is permissible, it's noble. And there's a way of doing it, not forcibly. So it was horrific. And CNN was the only one who covered it initially. Libya was not a very friendly place to go in for anyone. I had sleepless nights. So I actually started a program where I thought, if I could just make children, youth, aware that these things happen. That's all we can do at a smaller level. Everybody cannot go and rescue the people. Why can't we stop it at the initial level, and that comes with knowledge? Think of that. Prevention is better than cure. Why are these things happening? For complete ignorance. So let's educate the children, the youth. So I actually went to the slum schools. I did a lot of creative workshops. I went to the churches, spoke to the youth. Kenya is very religious. So they have a lot of people assembling at the church regularly. So interfaith groups work well. So I was doing that. So I took the program to Uganda. It was a very gratifying program, Tati, because when I used to lead the program, the children, even the young boys and girls who have done work with, they would all say, "Come back, Mandy. Thank you for doing this for us in the country. We did not know." I used to get so many WhatsApp messages. It was very rewarding. You can't change the world, but you can change the world for one person. There's a saying, and it's really true. If you can change the world for one person somewhere, it's so well. I would like to believe that it's touched a few lives, and that's all we can do. And then, of course, I returned to India after a stay of 27 years outside the country. And to me, India is like now, I feel like a tourist in my own country. India has changed also in many good ways, and it's changed. Every place changes. It doesn't stop when you leave. So I'm adjusting to India now, loving it. Beautiful country. So I started.
It's funny, because I tell this to people, right? When you live so many years in a different place, and then you come back to your country, you repatriate to your country. It's almost like an expatriation, right? You're so. It's interesting that you're mentioning, because I talked to other people who also repatriated, and they said the same thing. I'm adjusting. I know it's my own country, but I'm still adjusting. So I'm glad you brought this up.
But it's a beautiful country, and I'm enjoying it. So right now I've started a mental health program where I'm trying to talk to people. I'm trying to create table dialogues on creating awareness on mental health, that mental health is also health, that there is no stigma attached to it, that you cannot discuss it or disclose it. It's a big thing now, Tati. It's becoming a very big, it was always there for some time, but people were not addressing it. It's almost in every home with teenagers, with their spouses, with their partners, but you don't address it. And now with the last 2 years of Corona, COVID, lockdown, pandemic, it's taken another perspective totally. So you see, even among the latest players, the tennis player Osaka, this is last interview that I had with Manny. Osaka was Naomi Osaka. She had a mental health issue, and they were so unforgiving, the organizers of the tennis. I mean, it's unbelievable. But Roger Federer, he walked away from the tournament without paying a fine because he said he's got a physical knee problem. And Naomi Osaka said, I have an anxiety problem. And the only thing she didn't want to do was talk to the press. I mean, come on, a good player. Mental health you have to respect mental health. Anyway, so that's one of the examples. There are many such mental health issues which are not getting addressed, not being understood. So I started that online program now, and I will be happy, Tati, if you can help me even promote this dialogue with your talk shows, because it reaches every home and every heart. And believe me, I had over 65 people attending that program on Zoom. That clearly shows how many people were interested in the topic.
Yes, it's a topic that's becoming, very talked about, especially in the pandemic. Yeah, absolutely. And Mandy, tell me something. What did you learn with all, if you could say in one word, what did you learn with all these expatriation experiences that you had?
Empathy. Very different from sympathy. Very different from knowledge. Very different word when it's just used to write in essays. Empathy.
That's a good word. Yes, absolutely. And as we said, it's we get exposed to different, perspectives, to different people, to different backgrounds, and we start to understand, and that's why we can empathize. If we never get exposed, we will never be able to empathize, right?
Correct. Absolutely. What you don't know, you don't know. What you don't see,
Yeah.
you don't feel. For example, when I started the slave trade campaign in Kenya, I was doing my workshop in the slums, but I did my campaign in the proper residential areas and supermarkets. Everybody was surprised. What are you saying? Slave trade? Slave trade? Yes, slave trade. It's happening now. Slavery is not over. And people who stop to hear me, stop to think, stop to come a show and walks, we organize walks. They related, they contributed money. So you see, before this heard, before they saw, they were not even, you cannot expect everyone to know everything from media or probe every. Why is it not in our face in the media? It's not in our, it's not there in everyday news. So certain things you have to feel to understand, you have to see to know. Yeah, of course. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to life.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. I totally hear you. And Mandy, one last thing. So I wanted to show you the card that I selected from you.
Yes.
And just for our new viewers, let me mention, so we created this deck of cards to help people gain awareness about how they think and feel in relation to certain topics. So Mandy, I am going to share the card with you and read the card out loud to the audience, and then tell anything that comes to your mind in regards to the card.
I decide when I'm thrown off balance. I am in control of my life. Anger draws energy from the heart and weakens the capability of living at the moment. Well, it reminds me completely something different, which is not connected to what we were talking right now. It reminds me of my relationship with my own brother, who I was very close to, who was almost like my twin, 1 year difference. We were first baby god friends. We were inseparable. I lost that relationship. And when I lost that relationship, I lost it through a lot of anger. If that anger had not been there, then probably, some other emotion would have shown you a better way. So that's what that card reminded me. In anger, we both got judgmental. We both got abusive, not in abusive way, emotionally, whatever. In anger, we threw off something which was better than gold. So yeah, anger draws a lot of wrong energy. But having said that, after you throw out everything, if you know how to gain back your balance, then you're fit for the road again. So yes, I have healed myself by letting go of the anger, letting go of everything, expectation, letting go of even the desire to want it back. I just worked on it for 3 years to just let it go. And I'm in control of my life again.
Mandy, thank you so much for, sharing something so vulnerable. And yes, anger is a very difficult topic, because when we are hijacked by anger, it's really difficult to gain command again. Yes. So I actually congratulate you for being able to do that. Many people around the world have a lot of trouble in dealing with anger, right? And I'm so glad that you were able to overcome this. And yes, I think anger is a very interesting topic, because sometimes we don't feel we are in control when we are angered, right? And we have to, be very resilient, work a lot, be very patient, right? To regain command. So thank you so much for sharing that story. I really appreciate. And thank you so much for being here, for sharing all the stories, for all your candid experiences. You shared it without filters. So thank you so much. For being so honest, for being so you, so authentic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tati. It was a complete pleasure to be on your show. I treasured this discussion as much as you do.
Hey, I want to tell you one more thing. You are a global leader. The question is, do you have all the skills that you need to succeed? I'd love to help. I save my very best tips for my subscribers. Subscribe for free at coachingexpatriates.com. I know your inbox is sacred, so I promise I will send you emails that you will love. Whoa, that was super exciting. I really enjoy these talks and I hope you do too. As always, I will leave links to the things that we talked during the show in the description. And if you like this episode, please share it with your friends and make sure to give us a thumbs up so that other people can find us. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so that you can be notified when we have new videos. Thank you so much for watching.